into the penthouse. Rigby, a gray rug of cat, lies sprawled on her back on the sofa, with her paws stretched high above her head. In contrast, Levin is curled forward over a Model B Steinway, his fingers resting silently on the keyboard. He is so still, he might be a puppet awaiting the first twitch of the string above. In fact, he is waiting for an idea. That is usually where I come in, but Levin has not been himself for many months. To write music, he must hurtle over a morass of broken dreams. Every time he goes to leap, he comes up short. Levin and I have known each other a very long time, and when he is like this, he can be unreachable. So caught on the wheel of memory, he forgets he has choices. What is he remembering now? Ah, yes, the film dinner from the night before. He had expected questions. It was why he'd avoided everyone. Hadn't attended a function since December. It was still too raw, too impossible. For the same reason, he'd ignored emails, avoided phone calls, and finally unplugged the answering machine in February after one particularly upsetting message. And then last night, in a living nightmare, 3 of them had got him at one end of the room and harangued him, berated him, outrageous claims of abandonment and lack of responsibility. "You don't seem to realize I had no choice in this," he had told them. "You're her husband. If it was the other way around..." "Her instructions are perfectly clear. This is what she wants. Do I have to send you a copy of the letter?" "But Arky, you've abandoned her." "No, I haven't. If anyone has been abandoned, please tell me you are not suggesting, Arky, that you have the raw deal here." "You can't just leave her there." "Well, what exactly did you have in mind?" he had asked. "That I bring her home?" "Yes, for God's sake. Yes." They had all seemed stunned at his reluctance. "But she doesn't want that." "Of course she does. You're being unbelievably blind if you think anything else." He had excused himself, walked the 20 blocks in a rage, aware also that he was weeping and grateful for the handkerchief he never went anywhere without. The bitter taste of helplessness lingered on his tongue. He scratched at the rough patch on his hand that might be cancer. He thought of the night sweats, too, waking drenched at 3 a.m., having to change his soaked pajamas and slide over to the other empty side of the bed where the sheets were dry. He wondered if it was his heart. If he died in the apartment, it could be days before anybody noticed. Except Rigby, who would possibly settle on his corpse until she realized he was not getting up to feed her. It would be Yolanda, their housekeeper, who would find him. Yolanda had been in their life for years, ever since they were married. Lydia had thought it as normal to employ a maid as keeping milk in the fridge. She had stayed on, Yolanda, through the move to Washington Square. Levin never liked to be home when Yolanda came. Lydia was good at small talk with shop people and teachers and tradespeople. Levin was not. Levin thought that if he died, the trees on the deck in their tall glazed pots would almost certainly die too for lack of water. He got up and made another pot of coffee, sliced an onion bagel and lowered one round into the toaster. Within minutes it was smoking and blackened. With the second half, he assumed complete vigilance, spearing the thing with a knife when he sensed it was ready, hoisting it up and reinserting it in a slightly different position. Why had Lydia bought this particular toaster, and not a version that didn't destroy his breakfast every morning? How was it possible they could invent drones to kill a single man somewhere in Pakistan but not perfect the toaster? Leaving his plate and cup in the sink, Levin washed his hands and dried them carefully before returning to the piano. On the music ledge was an illustration of a Japanese woman with long blue-black hair and vivid green eyes. He wanted to write something spellbinding for her. A flute would be good, he had decided a few days before. But everything he came up with reminded him of the mission. He felt like a beginner again, searching through old melodies, attempting transitions that didn't work, harmonies that tempted and then became elusive. And so for the next few hours, Levin immersed himself in the process.